Jamaica is too expensive. Jamaica is so expensive. How many times have you heard that? Either by somebody saying it on social media or somebody saying it to you, whether it's friend or relative living in Jamaica, or somebody who has recently visited Jamaica and come back to wherever you are living and saying it as well. Well, is that really true? Let's explore it some more.
The Jam Fam family. Jam Fam, come hang with me. Yeah.
Hello, Wagwan. Pick up yourself, whether you're there, yard or you're there abroad. Welcome back to another episode of Life with the Jam Fams. Now, on this episode, we're going to talk about this hot topic of Jamaica is too expensive. And you can have your say in the comments below about what you think. However, when we just came to Jamaica and we were hearing the prices of things, it did take us aback a little bit. And we'll explore why in a little moment. Before we get further into the conversation, it is worth recognizing that inflation is indeed a thing and it's affecting people right across the globe, regardless of which country you're living in. And it's simply that the currency we use in different countries make it feel a little bit more so than other places. And also the sourcing of the things that we have, that we're using or buying. So whether or not we're being consumers primarily and not producers, where we're being both producers and consumers of those things that we produce, or producing things that we can afford to export to other places that then provide us with the necessary currency that we need. It makes life a little bit better for people living in those countries to find that things are more affordable. Let's explore though really the deep concept of Jamaica being too expensive. All platforms that do research on cost of living and collate data on cost of living for individual countries as well as groups of countries list Jamaica as a low cost of living country destination. And yes, when they do this, they are looking primarily at currency arbitrage. Nevertheless, when they calculate the metrics that they use in order to determine that Jamaica is a low cost of living country in comparison to other countries that people are expatriating from, it gives us the understanding that Jamaica is considered one of those countries that are having low cost of living. Therefore, it is for this reason why it is unclear as to why it is that Jamaicans in the diaspora view Jamaica to be a high cost of living country, when the statistics that inform people who are leaving countries like the ones they are in to go to other places to live are telling those people that Jamaica is a low cost of living country in comparison to other countries that they are exploring and hold data on. It is understandable when people in Jamaica who have no real life comparison of cost of living in other countries elsewhere come to the conclusion that Jamaica is a high cost of living nation. However, people who live elsewhere and have comparative experience should be able to come to conclusions that give them a better perspective on the matter when comparing it to where they live and to Jamaica as a whole. But the fact of the matter is, when you come to Jamaica and you are told the cost of things, initially when you hear the cost quoted to you, it sounds very expensive because of course you're hearing a high number. Now, relatively, when somebody says to you that something is $1,000, you're thinking $1,000, what for? But when you actually stop to think how much $1,000 is in your country and the currency that you spend on a frequent basis, you then get to realize that $1,000 is not as much as we had thought that it was in the country that we are from. And yes, I do appreciate that Jamaicans don't have the privilege necessarily of currency arbitrage unless they have remittance being sent to them or they are working with companies that are paying them in foreign exchange, or if they're repats or expats who are also having currencies from elsewhere that they can then use here in Jamaica. Nevertheless, a dollar is a dollar in a man's land. And so when we think about it, we then have to give some acknowledgement to deciding whether or not Jamaica is as expensive as people say it is. So one of the things that I started doing when we came here and we were hearing the quotations, we then started to convert into the currency that we're accustomed to using. And then we start to look at the value of the service that we're getting and what we would have paid for a similar service in the country that we are coming from. And we use that to help us to make sense of the cost that we are being charged and whether or not it is reasonable or if it's too excessive a cost for us to be paying for that service. Doing that often help us to make sense of the cost that we're being charged for anything. It is also why we make an effort to buy things that are made locally, because we know that we are eliminating some of the overheads that goes into the importation of things here. And of course, I'm also mindful that some of the things that are made here and have made in Jamaica or produced in Jamaica or packaged in Jamaica aren't necessarily completely made here, because some of the products that they use, some of the commodities that are used in the manufacture of those things are indeed imported, and we're needing to pay the premium on that importation that did take place at some point in the production process. Some of the fees that we found to have been really excessive are things like realtor's fee, conveyancing fee, mortgage brokers' fees, because in comparison they're significantly higher here than they would be in the country that we are coming from. And so for us, when we contemplate it, we have fixed charges for those, not percentage payments, and so it's a difference. And then when you work out the calculation, it works out to be more expensive here than it would be there. And there are other things that you might find that that's the case with. So it would be good to just take stock of the things that are absolutely necessary and the things that are not, and then figuring out how to best go about it. But replicating or duplicating the things that we would have where we're coming from sometimes isn't the best thing to do, because one, they're either not necessarily all available and accessible, two, they're seasonally available, or three, they are much more expensive than the local versions of it. Although there are some cases where there are no local duplicate of those things that you would want, and therefore you end up have to pay the price to buy that if that is indeed what you want to get. Some imported things such as appliances and vehicle and some foods and clothing can be expensive, and therefore it is worth researching. And if you're choosing to move back, contemplate whether or not you want to send those things back for yourself. Of course, food have its shelf life, and therefore eventually you're going to need to buy it here, and at that point you can decide whether you want to have a homestead of your own to reduce your cost, or you simply want to buy the things that are locally branded. We've showcased some typical cost for a family living in Jamaica, and we've shown a video of supermarket shopping, we've shown another video of market shopping, and we showed a video of typical cost of living for a month in Jamaica, which includes bill payments and other things like that that you can go back and have a watch of to give you a clearer insight on the expenses in these regards. Have you noticed though that as much as people say that Jamaica is so expensive, many people live in these large houses that they own outright, or they live in houses where they live with maybe family members and they are not necessarily paying any rent? Did you also notice that these people in Jamaica wear trendy clothes and have lots of name brand gadgets? And not only them, but so do their children. Have you noticed that most of them have at least 2 phones that they're carrying around, and many of them drive luxury cars? When you think about it, really, Jamaica has a vast array of people from different strata and classes and different wealth backgrounds, and therefore saying that Jamaica is expensive, you have to define expensive for whom. Who is it expensive for? Because there are a lot of people here in Jamaica who are living a certain quality of life that even people in these countries where they believe that life is so much better off cannot compare their lifestyle to some of the lifestyle that are lived here. And equally, like there are homeless people and poor people living in some of these other so-called developed countries, you have those poor people living here too. Homelessness, not so much. You tend to have people who are homeless are most likely people with mental illnesses that you might see on the street. Outside of that, you don't see people being homeless because somebody somewhere will provide them with accommodation so that they can live until they're able to either build something for themselves or rent something somewhere to go and live. So when we think about it, we need to think about Jamaica being expensive. Expensive for who? And saying expensive is relative, because at the end of the day, if people can afford the life that they're living and are perfectly fine doing so and still living good quality of life, then really and truly how can we really say that it is any more expensive for them living where they're living when compared to somebody else living elsewhere, and equally considering that they do have a quality of life. From this side of the town, or into the city from this side, you have Church Teachers College side, and Church Teachers College, you come up to some plazas or some shops, big supermarkets, some superstores. So you've got Hua Square here. This is a GP office, and you have Hose over here up to the church, and we're coming up to two other shopping centers up ahead. So this is from the side coming from Lane, coming around. That's where the street is coming from. So coming from up Knockpatrick or NCU, and so that's where we're coming from, this store. And that's Ho's Supermarket over there. And if you know this street, you know that there are some malls along here, and this is the church in Mandeville. So it's Wesley Church, it's a Methodist church, and then over there is Willowgate Shopping Center, and you can see the church behind it. That's closer towards the center of the city, and there is another shopping center just along here. So, and the police are out again on the town. And then up ahead there are some road works done in the holiday, and up ahead we have a Juicy Beef, Mother's, and if you remember Super Plus shopping center, it's further along. Eliona is busy in the kitchen, and I've been smelling her whatever she's making, so I'm going to try and figure out what she's doing. Eliona, madam, what you making?
I'm making dinner.
What is it?
So for you, because you are anti-beef. Like, how could someone be anti-beef? Anyways, so I fried some chicken breast, and then I coated it in a honey glaze with the sweet and sour. So it's basically sweet and spicy. I didn't put any sour things in it.
Okay.
Except the sauce that I used. And then I have some fried onions, some chopped lettuce, and I'm grating some cheese, and then I'm going to close it up. And I'm going to make a quesadilla.
Okay, let's see.
So I have pre-made wraps.
Okay.
You want to taste a piece?
That's the sauce that it's in.
You want to taste a piece?
And it reminds me of something I used to eat at the Indian and Chinese restaurant in the UK. Let's see how it tastes. That piece is... I would have liked it a little bit more spicy, but otherwise it's that way.
Okay.
Actually, now that I've had it, I can, yeah, I can feel.
And then people start being eager to come and say, "Oh,
I can feel it now."
And then it kick in, and they have to be running around like a glass chicken.
I can taste it. It's the spice is fine, and everything. So, what are you making for yourself?
I'm going to make beef mince for mine, and then basically the same ingredients, except it's not fried.
Okay. Oh, so that's what the mince is for?
Yeah.
For your own? Okay then. Well, I can't wait to taste it.
The beef?
No, mine. And it look good and it smell good, so I can't wait for tasting.
I hope that it tastes good together.
I hope so too. I'm going to keep waiting, forget it. So is this it assembled?
This is the onions.
Oh, and then you're going to put the lettuce.
And then the lettuce. Basically a burrito, but like folded differently.
Okay. So then does the quesadilla, is it quesadilla?
Yeah.
Does it get heated, or you already heat the wrap?
I can like fold it and then like So I could, like, when I close it up, I could put it in the pan so it can get crispy. But you
Okay.
don't have to.
Okay. So I don't want it to be crispy. I just wanted to know how you were going to do it.
It's fine. I can do it like a soft shell.
Okay. So it just fold up like that. Okay, and then turn over.
Just do a flip,
And that's it.
and that's your first.
Okay. So am I getting one or more?
Well, you can have more if you want to, but because the wraps are small, I think maybe two would do.
Okay. Oh, so you warm the wrap.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you just
It's
cut it
nice
and fill it.
toasty. Yeah. Then I just make some slits.
When you make it next time, maybe you need to explain to the Jam Fam tribe how you
I definitely will
make
next time.
how you make the chicken.
Hopefully not taking as long as I took. But that was my first try. So, well, not making quesadilla, but the way I made the meat took long.
Okay. Yeah, because I know you've made quesadilla before, but it's the first time you've done this version of
I've
the
actually
filling.
never fried chicken myself before.
And you went above and beyond just frying to making
I'm just
this.
glad that it's cooked. So how does it taste?
It tastes fine. I like it.
Fine.
It
That
tastes
is
really
not
good.
a response.
And I like the medley of different tastes in my mouth from the cheese and the sauces, and I like the crunchiness of the lettuce. The last time I had this, when you made it, you did the crunchy shell, and I like the crunchiness. So even though I have a soft shell this time,
You still have the crunch.
yeah, but it's not as crunchy as when you did make the other shell. Did you put it in the oven the last time, the other one?
I put it in the pan to fry it closed.
Oh, okay.
'Cause you
when you
fry it on
finish
both
like this, you put
sides.
it in and then
Yeah.
so that's why it was crunchy. I did like the crunch from that one, but this is fine too. Yeah. Thank you.
Remember, you said you didn't want it crunchy. Okay.
But I like it and it's nice. Thanks.
You're welcome. Enjoy.
I'm going to run away
I
and
can't
enjoy
believe I
it now.
started at 5 and it's 7 now. And I still haven't started mine.
Yours will be quick because you know exactly what you're making and you've made it several times before.
Well, bye. The Jam Fam family. Where Irie living the good life. We're royal, cruising through the West Indies, having fun, enjoying the good life. Jam Fam family, the Jam Fam family, yeah. Jam Fam, come hang with me. The Jam Fam family. Where Irie living the good life. We're royal, cruising through the West Indies, having fun, enjoying the good life. Jam Fam family, the Jam Fam family, yeah. Jam Fam, come hang with me. The Jam Fam family. Jam Fam, come hang with me. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Thank you so much for staying here with us on this another episode of Life with the Jam Fams. Do remember that you can live a life in Jamaica that's affordable. It's about what life you want to curate for you and for your family that you're returning with. And once you've decided on that, then you put the plans and provisions in place to ensure that it is realized. And I wish you all the best with your planned move or your return. And bye for now, and we will see you in the next one. Take care.